So something I've realized in the banner of the channel of the podcast on YouTube, it says God, health, life every single day. What I've realized is I actually haven't talked all that much about the health side of it. It's been very God focused. It's been very, life advice focused, but I haven't actually talked about the health side of it. And being an athlete, I know a lot. I know pretty much vast majority of what you need to know when it comes to how to live a healthy life, how to be healthy, and how to be athletic, right? Because I have to do it to, go and pursue the things I'm pursuing, right? So I'm gonna dedicate this podcast episode to talking about, what it means to be healthy, how you can be healthy, and how you can make changes to your current habits and routines in order to live a healthy lifestyle, and why it's good for you. So I think the definition of healthy, how you can actually see if you're healthy or not in your day-to-day life, is two things. One, how you look, and two, how you feel. If you're fat, usually you're going to be feeling like lazy, unmotivated, just kind of a little bit depressed, a little bit just a little bit just groggy all the time, right? Usually that's how it is, because you have to use so much energy to even just like get up and walk around, right? Because you have more weight. That's just how it is. And if you have some lean muscle, you're agile, you're fit, you feel better because you can get up, you can move around, you don't burn that much energy, you just feel better, feel more ready to go, right? There's a difference there. And of course how you look matters, right? It's correlated, right? If you have muscle, first of all, you look good, you feel better about yourself. It's like the self-confidence type of thing. And it also is just better. You have more energy throughout the day to go and work out and even just do daily tasks. Whereas if you're even if you're like just skinny, or if you're fat, is even worse. Of course, you just have less energy, so you just don't even want to like go and do anything. For people that are just scrawny and skinny, it's kind of a similar type of thing. You just have less energy because, like, I don't know, you're hollow, right? You're skin and bones. You don't you don't have any strength. Like, you're just kind of weak, and when doing physical tasks, it's harder for you. So regardless of which way you fall, it's still worse than actually having a bit of muscle, actually being fit, actually having like good endurance, good like cardiovascular strength. All those things are good and much better, and you'll actually like feel better as a result of it. You'll feel better. And after every time you do a workout, especially if you push yourself past your limits, you will feel great, right? Those hormones will, will release, right? And you will feel absolutely amazing because it's a good thing. It's a good thing to work out. But, a lot of people don't, right? But that's how I classify what it means to be healthy. It is a combination of how you look and how you feel. So, with that in mind, what are you meant to do to actually reach a state where you're looking great and you're feeling great? You're feeling great because you look great, and you're feeling great because you just have more energy. How can you get to that point? Well, I think there's a few key points where health matters. First of all, it's of course the obvious one, how much exercise you do. The bar for health has gone so low because so little people actually exercise nowadays. So little people even like just want to go out for a walk. Like, the bar for what is considered to be like a healthy lifestyle is at an all-time low. Like, you go and you do like one run and 2 or 3 gym workouts a week, and that's enough. That's enough to be considered in like the top 10%, maybe even more than that nowadays. Because so many people just don't even do that. You do one run, and 2 or 3 gym sessions, like lifting weights, strength training. That puts you at a higher percentile than the vast majority of people. And it's like, that's a terribly low bar. Because for me as an athlete, I have to work out 2 hours a day for 7 days a week on average. That's what I would do, was doing in the peak of my athletic pursuit. That was what I was doing. 2 hours a day for 7 days a week. 14 hours. 14 hours of working out, minimum. Sometimes it'd be more. Sometimes it'd be around like 10. maybe 8 to 10 hours, and on a lighter week, 8 to 10 hours, right? But that's still like infinitely more. I'm saying that, like, because of modern day culture, like 4 or 5 hours a week of working out is like more than the vast majority of people. That is the bar. In my opinion, you have to probably do an exercise, go to the gym, or do something, go for a run, something like that every single day. And maybe take one rest day a week. But minimum 6 days a week, you're doing something for more than an hour. Then you're actually getting to like proper healthy athleticism type of thing, and you'll make progress a little bit quicker than if you only go three days a week, right? You know, obviously, in the gym you have to balance it out between gym, right? The best way to do it is don't skip legs, right? Do your upper body, work your legs, do cardio, do some abs, do some other things, play some sports. If you just have fun while you're exercising, that's the best thing you can do is play sports. You're exercising, you're burning calories, you're improving your cardio, and you're also having a good time while doing it. That's why sports are so great. But the point is, it's like you don't have to do that much, but I think it's better if you do a little bit more, minimum workout a day. But you actually don't. You need a run and 3 gym sessions a week, and you're in the top 10% of people, which is just insane. And maybe it's just top 10% of people in America, because America's worse. But there was definitely a stat I saw. I can't quote it exactly, but the point is, it's a real stat, and it's sad how far things have fallen. And if you do that, you'll just find over time you're just feeling better, you feel stronger, and just the feeling of strong, like feeling stronger, and just seeing yourself in the mirror and being a little bit more satisfied with what you're looking at, with the body that you have, and just being able to have more energy to go and do the daily tasks of the day. It starts with just exercising. That is, like, of course, the the very first one, the very most important thing when it comes to living a healthy lifestyle. The next thing, which a lot of people neglect and overlook, is your diet, what foods you eat. So many people, they go to the gym, they work out 6 days a week, 7 days a week, but it's called a dirty bulk for those that don't know the terminology. You exercise, but you eat like absolute crap. You'll eat fast food, you'll eat a bunch of pizza, a bunch of chips, like ice cream, like whatever terrible thing, just because, oh, you just want to get as many calories in as possible. But in reality, that's terrible for you. That's horrible. Because you're eating so many saturated fats that most of the time these people, they'll be strong, but they'll still look fat. They'll be strong, but they look fat. And do you really want to have that combination? Strong but look fat? I feel like aesthetics are actually better for your own self-esteem. Like if you have a six-pack abs, it feels much better for you than if you're big but you have so much fat. And then, you have to cut, right? You have to go on the cut, and the cut's even worse, where then you decrease the amount of calories you're eating, and then you have to go, you feel hungry all the time. You feel lack of energy all the time, right? So people go through these types of cycles. That's not good. In my opinion, that is absolutely not good. You should have a steady diet of healthy foods, eat fruits and vegetables every day, get your protein. You should probably be eating at or close to your body weight in protein if you want to make good gains. Limit the amount of saturated fats you eat. Eat healthy carbs, things like pasta, rice, even like potatoes, bread. Healthy carbs rather than fast food and extra unnecessary saturated fats. And don't overeat on sugar either. And there's a few other basic things you need to do. You can obviously have like a cheat day once in a while, maybe a couple times a month, right? Maybe once a week or a couple times a month. You have your cheat day because obviously, food tastes good and food's nice, right? So it's always good to do that. But you have to understand that if you actually want to make gains, you actually want to, make a step and feel better, feel healthier, and see the results in yourself. It's going to take a good diet as well. Maybe a lot of people eating what you currently eat and increasing your exercise, maybe you'll get it done, right? Maybe you'll actually make those gains, you'll make those improvements. But a lot of people you can't, right? I'm personally lucky because I have a fast metabolism. I actually think it hinders me a little bit because it takes a lot longer for me to gain muscle. So sometimes I feel like a faster metabolism hinders me, but also it's a great thing because at times I can eat a couple of garbage foods just because they taste good. Not often because I make sure to keep it super strict for me, but whenever the time comes, I can feel more or less comfortable because I know that I'm not going to get fat doing it because A, I'm going to burn it off because I'm going to do a workout. Even if the workout will feel worse because of what I just ate, I'm still going to burn it off. And B, my metabolism is going to, get through it, right? And shift it through my body. But a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people don't have fast metabolism. A lot of people, you look at a cheeseburger and you get fat, right? Like it's that kind of a relationship between food with people. So that in that case, if you're that type of a person, you have to be even more strict. You can't be lenient for anything, at least in the beginning when you're trying to get that consistency going, when you're trying to actually make it happen. I'll just like connect this. Yesterday, I made a podcast about New Year's resolutions. Like how are you going to make 2026 a good year, right? If your New Year's resolution is to go to the gym, is to get healthy, is to lose weight, is to gain weight, gain muscle, whatever pursuit you're working on, you need to understand that diet is a huge part of it. And you can even look at this video as a set of guidelines as to what you're meant to do to stay consistent, to keep going, and to not stop. But if you're actually serious about making some changes in your life, you have to focus on eating healthy. And eating healthy, it's not that complicated. Maybe if you want to count calories, you can count calories, but you really don't have to. You just have to, eat 3 meals a day. Don't eat too much sugar. Eat a good amount of sugar. Eat your body weight in protein, or at least close to. Eat a good amount of fruits and vegetables every single day. And limit saturated fats and high amounts of sugar. That's really it. Like, it's not insane. Like, it's not absolutely out of this world, mind-boggling, mind-bending type of thing. You don't have to do, like, a keto diet or whatever. Like, I think all these other diets are just scams. Just eat like a normal person, but don't eat like garbage, right? Eat like a standard dude, and you'll probably still be fine, right? You'll probably still be fine. And if you're fat, I'm just going to say it, you have to understand that you will, in the beginning, you have to resist the temptation because you're used to eating food, right? You're going to have to shake that off, right? And you're going to feel like crap in the beginning because you have to cut. You can't be out here, you know, and a cut is only like lowering the amount of calories you eat by like 200 to 500, right? It's not, you're not like, skipping meals. You still have to eat your meals, but you don't eat anywhere near as much as you have been, right? You replace that, McDonald's Big Mac combo with just, some rice and chicken, and that makes a huge difference. Just doing that makes a huge difference. And you do that for a consistent amount of time, few months, you'll start to see some results. In maybe a year or two, you'll actually be at the exact body type that you want to be at if you stick with it. It's not going to happen overnight. Remember that. But if you stick with it, you'll be at that type of level. So focus on diet, right? Exercise, I say 6 days a week, but also make sure you're locking in and you've locked down your food intake, what you're eating, the types of foods you're putting into your body, and how many calories you're consuming every day. With the odd cheat meal here and there to satisfy the cravings, but you have to control yourself. And at the end of it all, you will feel a lot better on the pursuit. It will complement your exercising, your newfound desire in a great way. But you should not be that type of a person that goes to the gym and exercises but eats like crap, because it's only gonna do exactly that, make you muscular but fat, and that's not really good. Like, it's better to actually look good so you feel better about yourself, right? That's a part of the whole reason why you want to be healthy, because not only do you want to be able to be more mobile and do more things, you also just want to feel better about who you are as a person. And if you look in the mirror and you don't like what you see, there's probably nothing worse than that, right? But if you look in the mirror and you're like, yeah, man, this is, I like where this is going. Now that's a beautiful thing. That's a confident thing. You can draw on that for strength to keep going even further on your pursuits, right? And then another thing when it comes to health, again, completely overlooked by a lot of people is sleep, right? I made a very very good podcast that did not get a lot of views, unfortunately, about the science of sleep and how you can make sure you have a good sleep every night. I recommend you go and watch it because sleep is super important, and it's about consistently having a good night of sleep. Doesn't necessarily mean 8 hours, but it means having high quality sleep every night, being in the same being in bed at the same time and awake at the same time every night, if you're able to, right? If you're not able to, well, you have to find kind of a balance. But if you're able to be in bed at 10 o'clock and awake anywhere in between 6 and 8 o'clock, then you're in good shape. And you do that consistently, you'll feel better. Again, the best time in my life was when I had like a few month period where every single night I was in bed at 10 o'clock, 10:30, and I wouldn't even need an alarm. I'd be awake at like 7, 7:30, and I would feel great. I'd feel amazing. I'd feel ready to go. I don't know what it is about Canada because since I've come back, I have not been getting that type of a consistency. I have not been feeling good. I could be in bed at 10, but I wake up at 8 and I'm still feeling horrible. So I don't know what it is. Is it because I'm not consistent enough with it? Maybe. I'm not sure. But the point is, if you do all the other things I've talked about, you work out, you eat healthy, but you get terrible sleep, you're still going to feel bad. You're going to feel like crap. You're going to feel tired all the time. And because you're working out, you're only burning more energy. So you're just going to be tired and lack of energy all the time anyway. No matter how healthy you are, no matter how fit you are, you'll just be feeling mentally drained. That is down to the fact that you're not sleeping properly. You're going to bed late, you're on your phone way too late at night. You're sleeping in way too late. Whatever issue you're dealing with, or both, right? Or both, one or the other, or both. You're just going to be feeling tired like all the time. And I've experienced it. Again, I've had moments in my life where it was amazing and I felt great, but then I've had moments where it's the opposite, where I can't quite get that consistency. And as much as I'm healthy, as much as I eat healthy, as much as I exercise all the time, I still like feel tired, right? Majority of the time. There have been days in my life where I'm literally waking up and I'm tired every single day, like without fail. And people around me, they ask, "Oh, how was your sleep?" I'm like, terrible. Every single day it's terrible, and it's like, you don't need to worry about it. This is something I'm dealing with. But that's not a good thing, right? It's not a good thing. I know it's not a good thing. That's why I'm trying super hard to crack down on my sleep schedule and my sleeping habits. But, if we're talking about health in the context of looking good and feeling good, not sleeping well at night, being inconsistent with sleep will only make you feel worse. And that means, by definition, you're not really healthy. And slowly but surely, you're just draining yourself. Because either you're not getting enough sleep, you're not getting high quality of sleep, and just the inconsistency of it is like your body just becomes confused, right? If one night you're only eating dinner at like 11 p.m. because, I don't know, you had a lot of stuff to do, let's say. So then you're going to be eating breakfast at like 10 in the morning. You go to bed at like 3. You eat breakfast at like 10 in the morning, maybe later. And then maybe the very next day, you're in bed at like 11, you had dinner at like 6 o'clock, and you're in bed at like 11, and you're eating dinner at like 8 o'clock. Doing that too much will just make your body confused. And if you don't have a fast metabolism, that's making it worse. Then it kind of bleeds into like, food and diet a little bit, because it's the inconsistency of your meal times. And your body just gets confused. If you have a sensitive metabolism, that will hinder your progress, almost certainly. So that's why it's super important, not just for your own energy levels to be better, but also because it could also hinder, your food intake. And also, if you're eating breakfast super late, when it gets to lunch, like again, it just gets pushed back. It's just a series of negative events that result from not getting a good night of sleep. And, the more nights of sleep that you have that are bad, the more drained you'll feel, the less healthy you'll feel, the more tired you'll feel. And that's not a good thing. We don't want that. When trying to be healthy, we do not want that. So the better sleeps you get every night, the more consistent you are with your sleep, the better you'll feel. The more energy you have, the more energized you feel, and the more ready you are to get into the day, to do the workout you need to do, and to do whatever other work, whatever other tasks you need to do for the day. So what did I cover? I covered exercise, consistency with your exercise, food, right? What you eat, how you sleep, and, I'll talk maybe just a little bit about injuries. A little bit about injuries, just to wrap up, because injuries are, biggest setback, right? You could be doing so well, super consistent for a few months. You're seeing so many gains, so much progress, and then boom, something happens, and you're out for a few weeks or a few months, and your motivation has been destroyed. Your drive's been destroyed. Your pursuit's been destroyed. What I would say to injuries is, when exercising, make sure you stretch before and after every single workout. Because the one time I didn't stretch after my workout, I pulled something. Literally, and I stretch all the time. But the one time I was like, I'll just kind of half-ass it, I pulled something. It's literally the easiest thing to do. It takes 5 to 10 minutes before and after each workout. You just stretch. Before the workout, you do more dynamic stretches, more movement, right? Like a warm-up type of thing, right? If you're doing upper body, warm up the shoulders, warm up the arms, elbows, all that type of stuff. Move things around, right? And when you're cooling down, it has to be, static stretches, just calmer, sitting down usually. But you have to do both, because soreness will be real, injuries will be real, and you're only increasing the chances you get hurt, and your whole progress gets kind of reset because you get a big injury because you were irresponsible. It's very easy to get an injury. Our bodies are, they're made in a good way, but they're not perfect, right? If you're playing soccer, all it takes is you to just slip the wrong way, and then your ankle twists, or even worse, your knee twists as well. Or, all it takes is you're on like a bicep curl machine, and you overextend, and your bicep gets teared. It's all it takes. It can be so simple and so easy to get injured. So do the easy thing to stop it by stretching before and after every single workout. Because an injury is just going to destroy you. It's going to just completely put you off, especially if it's a long-term one. And even worse if it's because of an irresponsible thing. It's just going to put you off. It's just going to make you feel so much worse, and it's just going to hinder you. It's just going to delay your progress. Maybe even reset your progress completely, depending on the injury. If you get injured, don't overwork yourself. Focus on rehabbing. Focus on trying to actually recover it. Don't overwork yourself. Don't continue to lift weights if you have an injury, like an actual real serious injury. But make sure you stretch before and after. I cannot stress this enough. It is the easiest way to prevent injuries. It's the easiest way to decrease the chances of you getting injured. And a lot of people don't do that, and then they get injured, or then they feel extra soreness, and, then you're overworking, you're overpushing your body, and then, it leads to an injury. So you have to, A, prevent the injuries in the way you can, and B, know your body. If you're sore, right? If you're overly sore, like you actually have you can hardly extend your arm because your biceps are sore or something like that, or you're limping, walking because parts of your legs are sore, then you should probably rest for that day. You should probably take that day as a rest day. A rest day is not just sitting on your butt and doing nothing. It's about stretching, as I said before, maybe doing some mobility work, which is just, opening up the joints and stuff. You can search up different mobility exercises online. I'm sitting down in a chair. I'm not going to be demonstrating that for you. But the easiest thing to prevent injury is to just stretch. So please do not do everything I said in this video and then pick up an injury because you didn't stretch before and after the workout. All right? Now we got that settled. I think that's it. So to wrap it up, to summarize, what it means to be healthy is to look good and to feel good. If right now you don't look good, you probably don't feel good. If you don't like what you see in the mirror, you probably have low self-esteem, and you probably look at yourself and feel depressed. It's only up to you to make those changes to do better. So, exercise 6 days a week, take a rest day, make sure your diet is locked in, make sure you're eating healthy, you're eating less saturated fats, less sugar, less calories. Make sure your sleep is as consistent as you can possibly have it, and make sure you prevent injuries in the way that is the easiest thing to do, which is by stretching before and after each workout. So there is your summary as to how to become healthy, how to live a healthy lifestyle, and how to feel good. If you do these things, you will see over time that you'll feel better about yourself. You'll have higher self-confidence, higher self-esteem, because you'll look in the mirror and you'll see the progress and you'll feel great. And you'll also just, feel more energized and ready to go and more motivated and more driven to actually continuing to pursue health and continuing to grow yourself and feel better each and every day. So thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. If you did, let me know. Leave a like and subscribe. Follow on Spotify if you're watching there. And I'll see you tomorrow for the next episode.